This is genuinely insane, as multiple reports have come out from the Minnesota Vikings and all their sources detailing the uncertainty with JJ McCarthy as quarterback and going as far as saying the Vikings are targeting Kirk Cousins. We're going to be breaking down these multiple reports that we have here in this video, going over why these are some of the most insane things we can see at this point here in the offseason. Before we jump into all of this, though, be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already, and you're looking for all of your Minnesota Vikings news. We know that just over 70% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel, but we can't waste any more time. We need to get into this, go over these genuinely insane reports. I want to start off here with this one. Here we go. Here we are. In a new ESPN piece where various writers propose trades for some of the NFL's biggest names who could still be moved, insider Dan Graziano and analytics writer Seth Walder went back to Cousins' returns to Minnesota idea. Now, this is something that we've seen quite a bit of here in this offseason, and not something that I am totally opposed to. The situation and the circumstances need to be right, but I need to dive into what they had to say here, starting off with, first of all, Dan Graziano, what he had to say. First, why this deal makes sense for both sides. Well, it makes sense for all three sides, really. Counting Cousins himself, he wants a chance to start and could use his no-trade clause to nix a deal to any place he doesn't want to go. But if he has to be a backup, we know he's liked living in Minnesota and playing for the Vikings. Plus, JJ McCarthy is still an unknown after his major knee injury, so maybe this could turn to more of just a QB2 destination in this scenario. The Vikings could agree to pay $10 million of the guaranteed money on Cousins' contract for 2025. Now, this is only the start of this. Of course, there was some difference back and forth here in this article. It would all be linked down below as well, but when we're looking at Cousins, he would be a phenomenal backup. There's no doubt about that. But will he want to play backup, let alone in Minnesota, let alone in Atlanta? He's had his time here. That time was left. We drafted JJ McCarthy for a reason. And, of course, he's yet to play a game due to this injury. But we're already talking about bringing in another quarterback to start over him if need be. Yes, you're going to need that certainty at backup, that security to have in case that injury still lingers, still persists, which, for as far as we know, it isn't. It's fine, and we're good to go here. But looking at this, of course, it's very hard to not be a bit concerned, and Kirk Cousins being a great option for a backup. He is making a bit of money. I think there's no doubt about that. And when we go and look at not just the depth chart, there is no serious number one actual quarterback, too, that can play every game of a season if need be. Sam Howell is a great quarterback, but is he that guy that can lead you somewhere else? We thought that was Sam Darnold, but is this the case once again? But when it comes down to it, looking at Kirk Cousins' contract here, he's making a boatload of money. Now, when we go from the Atlanta Falcons to the Vikings here, or the Vikings to the Falcons and vice versa, we saw and we remember how much we thought that Kirk Cousins was being overpaid. And in this instance, when we look at it, going to a $57.5 million cap hit in 2027 and 2026, those numbers are way, way, way too high for the Minnesota Vikings. You know, we're a team built on a young quarterback, rookie quarterback contract. We have JJ McCarthy going to be this number one quarterback. We have Justin Jefferson signed under knowing we have a rookie quarterback contract. This team cannot afford to have another guy like Kirk Cousins, but there are options that could make this doable if need be. And here's another quote that we have here from Seth Walder on this instance. And the key to the compensation for a Cousins deal is how much of his guaranteed money the Vikings would be acquiring, they're willing to take on. I'll raise Dan's offer and say the Vikings pay $12 million of it. This would allow the Atlanta Falcons to save a little face and get out of the situation with a different backup quarterback. For Minnesota, the upgraded backup quarterback is more important because of McCarthy's situation. Cousins will have to accept a lesser role with his old team, but at least he'd be reunited with coach Kevin O'Connell. Now, in this instance, Seth Walder has the Vikings giving up Sam Howell in a trade, so they're not having 5 to 6 quarterbacks on the roster. And even though that would guarantee us a much better backup, that would give us that security that we're looking for. Do we want to see Kirk Cousins back with this team? Do we want to see him on the bench? His time here, phenomenal. I very much enjoyed it. Didn't get where he wanted to be, but he didn't have that zip that we're going to be seeing from these younger quarterbacks like JJ McCarthy, who is in this new realm of game. And we need to see them as Vikings fans, as watching the Vikings, watching these players. We know how much they want to see JJ McCarthy. We know how much we want to see JJ McCarthy. And we cannot get into this instance, into this rhythm of wanting to see Kirk Cousins back with this team as much as we enjoyed his tenure. So let me know what you think about that, because, of course, there's so many possible moves that can be coming here. And we still do have a few more things that we need to cover when regarding Kirk Cousins and his ideal. So, looking at this contract, obviously, it is very, very expensive and very tough to try and justify doing this. But one more final quote that we have here from ESPN is, all of these are compelling for the Falcons, but of course, and for Cousins, both offers from the Vikings are dead on arrival. He wants to start. He more than likely won't do that in Minnesota. Even if he loved living there, this would basically be the same situation as Atlanta, being behind McCarthy instead of Michael Penix. Using his no-trade clause, Cousins would likely nix the Vikings. And this comes from ESPN, kind of cluing up this article after those quotes that we had just read. So I think this kind of puts a bow on it. People are still looking for Cousins, still looking for help, but we have to give JJ McCarthy the chance. We can't just let him go out and, hope for his failure to have a backup in. So, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. And a backup is something that we will need and something that we are waiting to see if we have the right one. But I fully do entrust what this quarterback room entails at this very moment. But we do have another report coming out from a very interesting source, kind of saying that the Vikings are not confident in JJ McCarthy when it does come down to it. And this is what we have right here. Without seeing what he can do on the field, there is no guarantee that Minnesota will see him become a legitimate starter in 2025. There's a lot riding on his ability to step in and play at a high level, but the Vikings cannot be guaranteed to see him succeed. And this also comes with another quote pairing from this article from Ross Tucker saying, no matter what the Vikings say about JJ McCarthy, they wanted Sam Darnold back, Tucker said, and then they were when they weren't going to get Darnold back, they wanted Daniel Jones back. As much as they're sold on JJ McCarthy, they weren't that sold. So the Vikings have some doubt. Now, I think this is really blowing this out of the water. Because when we do go ahead and look at these quotes, look at this from the Vikings kind of standpoint. There is uncertainty, yes. That's the reason why you wanted to get a solid quarterback. That's why Sam Howell is our quarterback rather than someone so young, or a guy like Brett Reitman, who may have not had the reps as a guy like Sam Howell has had as a starting quarterback. We have that backup that we need, but we have to let JJ McCarthy do his thing. Let him go, let him play, and see from where we go from there. And of course, the uncertainty is going to be there from the Vikings. They don't want to be stuck in the water if McCarthy, first of all, does get hurt again. Second of all, if he may or may not be ready at game one, quarter one, right off the rip of the season. He's going to take time. And of course, coming off this injury, being able to sit behind the team last year gives us a bit of an advantage compared to some quarterbacks who are going to be coming in out of the draft, ready to go. But still, not playing an NFL game yet, having all this hype around him, that surely has to have some thought on the Vikings with Kwesi, with Kevin O'Connell, with the owners. There's always that idea in the back of your mind. But we have to trust JJ McCarthy. We can't let him go out and just, waste away what we think he can be. We have to let him go out and try it. So let me know what you think about all of this news here. Are you confident with JJ McCarthy? I very much guarantee I can say that I absolutely am. So let me know what you think about that, as well as Kirk Cousins. Do you want him back? It's a bit of a bold one, but I think we're going to have a lot of mixed opinions on this. So let me know what you think in the comments below. That's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.